What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to look at the 4 Horsemen of Horror, most people's Mount Rushmore of killers. We've got Michael Myers, we've got Jason Voorhees, we've got Leatherface, and we've got Freddy Krueger. Again, these guys, they're the tippy top. They're the best of the best. And I'm going to go through every single iteration. I've got 43 unique versions of these characters, some more unique than others, but still there are some slight variances, different people playing the parts. So I'm going to be ranking how likely I am to survive a night with this character or a day with this character, a dream with this character, you know, a situation where I'm thrust into their crosshairs. How likely am I to survive? And, you know, the top tier, we've got they're going to kill me during the opening credits. So I don't want to see these folks. No ifs, ands, or buts. I don't want to run into them because I don't like my chances unless I've got some heavy plot armor. The next down is in for a long night. Now, you know, if I've got that final guy energy, I might be able to pull through, but these people are also ones that you do not want to trifle with. So again, it's not looking too good for your boy right here. In the middle category, I've got they'd hurt me, but not emotionally. So there's going to be some pain. There's going to be a little bit of suffering, but you know, I might get out of it. I might not. And if I get out of it, I'm probably going to be, you know, still emotionally there. They're not going to absolutely ravage me to the point where I might as well be dead anyway. The next category, we have killable killers. That speaks for itself. These are people that, sure, they have a body count. Sure, they're going to be, you know, a threat. But I really do like my chances of surviving, of getting out of this. I'm not going to say with minimal effort, but with a little bit of plot armor, maybe I'm probably going to be all right. And then the last category is dying first in their own movie. Again, these people probably should have just been left at the Spirit store. These are guys that are go get their Halloween costume at Spirit and come chase you down. So they're not the scariest. Some of these are even laughable, and one of them actually literally dies first in his own movie. So spoiler alert, you know where he's going to end up. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to go through these franchises in order. We're going to start with Friday the 13th, not release order. You know, obviously Friday the 13th didn't come out first, but I mean in their, you know, theatrical release order. So we're going to start with Friday the 13th, the original. Jason Voorhees is only in this movie for some snidbits, and it is child Jason. So by default, sorry, he kind of did die first in his own movie. This won't be the first time. But, you know, not really a threat, not really scary. He's a child. He's deformed. You got the good jump scare to end the movie, but overall, not really a physical threat. And if you are worried about him, just don't go in the water. Not a big deal. Number 2, part 2, the full adult Jason, Baghead Jason. You know, there is something to be said about kind of the uneasiness of the bag, the one eye. He's certainly a threat, so I'm not going to put him dying first in his own movie, but as far as Jason Voorhees goes, this is not, at least to me, one of the most formidable. So I'm going to put him in killable killers because, again, at this point, he is still a man. He takes a great deal of punishment, but at least, you know, in the narrative, he is still a human being. You could chop his head off. You could probably, presumably, put a bullet in his brain, and he's probably going to stop. So we're going to put him here in killable killers. I feel pretty good about that. Part 3, Jason. So this is big old Traps McGee, green shirt Jason. This guy is an absolute unit. I don't know what the hell he was eating in between movies, but the dude put on like 40 pounds of muscle. So he's gonna hurt me, but not emotionally. You know, again, he's not very fast. He does run. There's a couple scenes where he runs, but he's still, dude's not an Olympic sprinter. I gotta question his cardio a little bit, you know, so is he teleporting around yet? Debatable, but I feel like I could probably get away. But if he gets his hands on me, he's definitely gonna hurt me. So, and on that note, I think I'm gonna kind of stay in that same kind of realm with the part 4 Jason. I think that, again, if he got a hold of me, he's definitely gonna hurt me. But he does get bested by a child at the end of the movie, Corey Feldman. You can definitely manipulate both of these Jasons, even, you know, killable killer Jason. And that's the biggest, I think, flaw between these three is they are able to be manipulated. There's still a little bit of humanity in there. And you see in parts of all three of these movies where they are able to kind of stave him off a bit by playing kind of games with him. So that's where I'm going to put him. Imposter Jason, Roy. Yeah. It just doesn't work for me, bro. It just doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. The kills aren't great. They could have been great. I know that there's an unneutered version of the movie, I'm sure, out there somewhere, but we don't get to see a lot of his action. Again, he is still just a human being, not even Jason Voorhees, so zero supernatural elements to him at this point. So I'm not freaking out, over Roy, over Imposter Jason, the blue chevrons. Sorry, I didn't see that. Anyway, part 6. This is where Jason is reborn as a zombie. This is the birth of zombie Jason. This is the first one that I kind of remember watching a lot as a child. And this scene in particular, when he comes out of the grave, scared the shit out of me as a kid. So we're definitely in for a long night. He is still not super calculating. He's just kind of an unstoppable force. So that's scary, but I feel like with, a little bit of thought, a little bit of planning, don't freak out, you could probably get away from this dude. So I feel pretty good about my chances there. But again, in that turn, let's go to part 7. This is the first portrayal from Kane Hodder. And I got to say, the kind of the nuances to the character, the design of the character, I love the rotting corpse, really adds a level of terror. The fact that this guy gets drowned, he gets choked, he gets blown up, and he still keeps coming. That's scary. This is one of the scariest versions of the character that I've ever seen. So I'm going to put him, he'd probably kill me during the opening credits. And you know what? I'm going to take that because those are usually the easier, quicker kills anyway. So let's just go ahead and get me out of this movie and let's move on. So Kane Hodder, he showed up, made this character his own, and I don't know that it ever really got better for him, at least, than that original performance. The next one, we've got Juicy Jason. This is Jason Takes Manhattan. I don't really know where to put this guy. Because there's elements that are really scary. I definitely don't mind the opening. So I don't know. Let's put him in. Let's put him right here. They'd hurt me, but not emotionally, because again, he does follow these guys all the way to New York. So his relentless tenacity definitely has to account for something. And if he got a hold of you, he's gonna hurt you. So I think I'm okay with that. I think I'm okay with putting him right here, smack in the middle. Next we've got Jason from Jason Goes to Hell, and the dude literally dies first in his own movie. He gets blown up in a trap. I don't like that the mask is kind of set into his face. I don't really like the design all too much. And then he just kind of disappears for most of the movie. So I can't put him anywhere higher. This guy didn't scare me as a kid. He sure as hell doesn't scare me now. So we're going to put him right here in the middle. I'm sorry, at the very end. We got Jason. This is Jason from Jason X pre-Uber. And again, we don't get a lot of him, and he does get bested early in the movie. But he does kill like 10 or 15 dudes. They have established at this point that he has a regenerative healing factor. So they've, taken the kind of mystery away from it. And we got pretty much Wolverine here. So he definitely hurt me, but not emotionally. And now Jason X, Uber Jason. I mean, what else do you say? This dude is an absolute unit. So how do I not put him, in for a long night? Because he's pretty much indestructible. You can't shoot him. You can't chop his head off. You can't blow him up. You're going to have a problem with this dude. Now, whether you like the movie or not, I think there are moments of it that work. There are moments of it that don't work, but there's no denying I would not want to see this guy coming after me. No ifs, ands, or buts. But now we have the remake Jason. And again, regardless of your feelings of this movie, I actually really, really, really like this movie. I love this portrayal. To me, this is the scariest Jason we've ever seen on camera. So I'm putting him right at the tippy top. I know I said the order doesn't matter, and it really doesn't, but I am going to put him ahead of the Kane Hodder number 7 because I think that this is Derek Mears. I think this is the scariest version of the character. I would love to see him get a chance to do it again if he was even interested in a better movie. But I like the remake. I love the opening. It's one of the best openings of the entire franchise, and it definitely works for me. Scary as hell. And our last Jason, we have the Jason from Freddy versus Jason. He certainly seems like the dumbest version of the character, and I don't know if that's just because he spends the entire movie being manipulated and worked over by Freddy. So but again, he is a mountain of a man, the guy that they cast. And I'm sorry, I believe his name's Ken. His name's escaping me at the moment. I apologize. But the dude's a mountain. The dude is a humongous man, and he definitely has the stature to play the character. So out of respect for that, I'm going to put him above Soggy Jason, right in the middle. Again, a lot of these Jasons, they're going to hurt me, but not emotionally. You know, they're kind of just middle of the road. They don't offend me like some of these guys, and they're just, Baghead, he doesn't do it for me either. So I'm okay with putting him right there. And they hurt me, but not emotionally. So now that we've got all the Jasons ranked, let's go ahead and switch over to Freddy Krueger. We're going to start with the original, again, like I said. And I don't think anybody would argue that he deserves a spot right up here, because this guy right here was terrifying. The first version of Freddy is arguably the scariest version of Freddy that we've ever seen. The dude comes after you in your dreams, and we have to sleep. So there's no getting away from him. If he wants to kill you, he's going to get you eventually, unless you have the thickest of thick plot armor like Nancy. You're not getting away from this, and even she doesn't get away from him eventually. So yeah, no denying the original Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund, absolute legend, GOAT, deserves this spot right here. And similarly, the portrayal in part 2 is arguably scarier. I'll put it one tick under. They make him a little more demonic looking, a little creepier, unnatural looking than he already did. And the only thing I don't like is actually this part right here that you see in the snapshot where he comes into the real world. Him, in the real world, to me, isn't as scary as him in the dream world where he has near godlike powers. So, but still, you can't deny that his quest to get into the real world, pretty scary. If he was able to come out here and still, do his thing, that's a scary thought. So I'm definitely going to put him up at the very top. They'd kill me in the opening scenes. Again, I'd probably take that as mercy at this point. And number 3, we have the version from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3. This is Dream Warriors. This is where he starts to get a little more campy, but he still has some menace to him. For most people, this is where they kind of stuck the landing with the perfect balance of horror and comedy. So I think that with him, I'm probably in for a long night. I'll put him back here because he's still coming for blood. He's not full-on parody of himself just yet. He's still pretty menacing, pretty scary. And the way that he goes after your own insecurities, your own fears, at this point, I feel like he's mastered that. And he starts to really tailor those towards his victims in the most incredible way possible. So in for a long night for sure. But now we have, the Freddy from Part 4. Yeah. This is where he definitely starts to lose a little bit of his menace. I mean, look at this picture right here. They realized that they had a marquee, a very sellable killer. He had become a pop culture icon at this point. So, we're starting to root for Freddy. So the people that he kills start to become less sympathetic, and we start to actually root for him. So, and at this point, he has been killed a few times, dispatched a few times, and inexplicably brought back to life. So he's definitely a killable killer. I think that at this point, you could definitely take him. You could fight him. You could fight back by not being afraid. So yeah, we're gonna put him right there. Killable Killers, part 5. This is arguably the worst portrayal. Not quite there, but it's getting there. So I'm gonna put him dying first in his own movie. I'm not afraid of this guy at all. The makeup is getting progressively worse and worse. Probably just because Robert Englund, didn't want to sit in the chair as long. So the makeup is starting to look less and less good. I didn't like the whole Dream Child story. This movie just doesn't work for me. I don't watch it very often. And he's a big reason why. Is just this Freddy doesn't work for me. But speaking of Freddys who don't work for me, the Freddy in Freddy's Dead is arguably the worst. This to me is the worst portrayal. It's not even an argument. I don't watch this movie anymore. I don't think it's only if I'm trying to laugh, only if I want to watch it. For the map says we're fucked. Those parts of the movie are better than anything that Freddy does. And again, I'm sorry, Robert Englund is an absolute goat, but this was not the reason, not this performance at all. But we do have a return to form with Wes Craven's New Nightmare. This guy, you're absolutely in for a long freaking night. I'm going to put him right after Uber Jason because this guy's back to being menacing. I love the trench coat. I love the hat. I love the whole look here. Everything looks great. He's just menacing in the fact that he is, again, just tiptoeing out into the real world. He's not fully living in the real world, but he's trying. Those moments are really creepy, and I just think overall changing him to an actual demon who is personifying a fictional character, it's a really interesting arc. I think Wes had a really great idea here, and I love that this movie exists. I'm a big fan of this movie, one of my favorites of the franchise. But let's go to one of most people's least favorite in the franchise, and that's the remake. And this is not Jackie Earl Haley's fault. It's not his fault that this version doesn't work. He was never going to work for 85% of the people because he's not Robert Englund. And I think you can't cast anybody any better than him. And I think his portrayal, his voice worked pretty well. Again, I don't think he's the reason this movie doesn't work. I think the movie's just kind of dull. I don't give a shit about either of the leads. And it's sad because they're both pretty good actors. They just don't show it in this movie. And again, I think that Robert Englund did such a good job with Freddy Krueger, became synonymous with Freddy Krueger. So Jackie Earle Haley had no chance. So I'm not going to put him in dying first in his own movie, but I'll put him at the bottom of Killable Killers simply because, I think that I could take him. I definitely think that I could take this guy in his own movie. I'm getting out of there. So sorry, dude. And then let's go with the final portrayal of, Freddy in the franchise that we've seen, we're probably ever going to see. And that was his portrayal in Freddy versus Jason. Again, this dude was kind of scary, I guess, at times, but really, again, this movie was definitely made just to get a rise out of the fans. This was made to get us all to the theater. It did. I went and saw it in theater, and I was rooting for Jason, but that's okay. This guy, he lost his power. That's the whole kind of shtick, is that he lost his power because the kids aren't afraid of him anymore. So he's definitely a killable killer. He is trying to get Jason to do his dirty work, trying to get Jason to do most of the work. And then it's only after he gets, some of his power back that he realizes he can't stop Jason. He tries and he fails. And then he ends up getting pretty well worked by Jason by the end of the movie. I know he winks into the camera, but for my money, Jason won that fight. Jason won the battle. So I'm going to give Freddy, a little bit of, what? Right there. How about right there? Just behind Baghead. That works. Let's go ahead and switch franchises to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This might be the first one that really upsets people because I'm not going to put the original Leatherface in the top category. I will put him, in for a long night because the dude is mentally unstable. So there is no reasoning with him, but there's also, and you have that kind of manipulation factor. I don't know if he would fall for it at this point because he really only listens to his family. So he's probably going to do whatever he wants to you. But again, he's not the smartest, tool in the shed. He's not the brightest crayon in the box. And I just feel like I could handle the situation, Sally Hardesty style. So I'm going to put him in for a long night. It's going to be a long night, but I feel like I could get away. Now we go to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. This one is absolutely more of a comedy, so they make the Leatherface far less menacing. He's still a pretty big hulking man who carries around a chainsaw. So the lowest I think I can go at this point is Killable Killer. We'll put him above the joke Freddy, even though this guy, again, not super threatening. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, I actually remember liking this movie a lot more than I thought I would when I rewatched all of these for my Texas Chainsaw Massacre ranking. If you haven't seen that, I'll drop it in the comments below, but definitely I've ranked all of these movies, all of these characters for the most part. I liked this movie. I thought it was pretty good. This is the one with Viggo Mortensen. It surprised me. It surprised me how much. So I think that I'm going to put him in, they'd hurt me, but not emotionally. I'm going to put him right above Soggy Jason because, again, he has a couple successful moments, a couple decent kills, but you definitely have the family kind of pulling the strings a little bit. The TCM4, the Next Generation, this was kind of rebranded to capitalize on the marquee success of its stars Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey. They are the only good spots of this movie. This is the worst portrayal of the character, in my opinion. I do not like how far they went with the cross-dressing aspect of it. So definitely doesn't work for me. I mean, he literally gets bitched out in this movie. So I don't think it's too crazy to put him down here at the bottom. But then they did what they absolutely needed to do in 2003. I believe it's when it was 2002, early 2000s. They revamped these movies. Again, they did the remake. This is, for my money, one of the best remakes that they've ever done. This guy is terrifying. This Thomas Hewitt, this Leatherface is terrifying. So I'm going to put him at the top of They'd Kill Me during the opening credits because I could only hope that I got out of it pretty early and didn't get chased around by this dude because he is a menace. And then again, in the beginning, it's the same actor. It's the same character for the most part. This guy inexplicably can like tiptoe and sneak behind you and you don't even realize it. He's hiding in the back of a car. You don't even realize it. That's scary. The fact that he's that big, that fast, that sneaky. We're going to put him right up the top of the list too. These guys, I want no parts of them. I want no parts of this Thomas Hewitt, Leatherface. I like both of these movies very much. So the franchise is riding high. And do we continue this storyline? No. We go for a sort of remake, reboot, requel that completely negates all of the sequels. This is a direct sequel to the original. This is Texas Chainsaw 3D. He's killable. He's a killable killer. Again, there's a couple decent jump scares, I suppose. There's a couple decent kills, but he's not super menacing. He's not super scary to me. The movie is not scary, so I think he kind of suffers there. It's not that the guy isn't physically intimidating. I'm sure if I was standing next to him, I want no pieces of that. But again, I feel like because of his mental state, I could probably work my way around it, maybe get out of there. I mean, if she can survive, you do your thing, cuz I'm just going to pretend like I'm his cousin. Maybe he'll believe me. Maybe I can find the locket or whatever it was. I can find a way. It was the brand. That's right. She had the brand. But anyway, I'm gonna survive. I feel pretty good about that. And then we go to the prequel Leatherface to show us how Leatherface came to be, because that's exactly what we were all asking for. So, this dude, I'm not going to put him below cross-dressing Leatherface, but this guy, he's dying first in his own movie. I am bodying this dude 1,000%. I am not worried about that guy at all. But when we talk about the TCM 2022 Netflix movie, Old Man Leatherface, Don't talk to me about him being an old man. This guy was an absolute force. I mean, we got a first proper Texas Chainsaw Massacre on camera. I loved it. I love the brutality of this guy. I mean, he literally snaps a dude's wrist and then stabs him in the neck with it. I mean, come on. Old man my ass. This guy is an absolute freaking menace. So we're going to put him up here with this Leatherface. We've definitely got some Leatherface love because, I mean, the dude is a behemoth. He's a mindless behemoth for sure. Now we're getting into a personal favorite of mine, my favorite franchise, Halloween. But I'm going to try to be, unbiased because, again, there definitely are some Michael Myers portrayals that are not so scary, and there are some that absolutely are. This is probably going to be the second super controversial thing that I've done, but I'm going to put the original at the top of In for a Long Night. And it's not that Nick Castle didn't make him absolutely creepy. He did. But just, again, physically, there are a couple of physical feats that blow your mind that kind of give him this supernatural element. But as far as we know, he's just a man. You put a bullet in his head. I don't know. I mean, he takes 2 of them to the dome in the next movie, so maybe I'm talking out of my ass. But I feel like I'm in for a long night. I'm probably not making it, but there's a chance. There's a chance, a small chance that I make it out of here. As long as I keep my head on like Laurie Strode, I've got a chance. But like I said, this dude took 2 of them to the freaking cranium, so you're definitely in for a long night. I mean, I don't know if he was dying after this, if he would have died if Loomis didn't blow him up, but the dude took it like a champ, so it's hard to say. I know that I would not want to be stuck in a hospital with this dude. Probably not making it out, but again, got a chance as long as you keep your head, you keep running. Just run. Just freaking run. Stop finding a room to hide in and just run. Lori had a chance to get out, and she ended up going back. Crazy. Anyway, Halloween 4. What a disappointment. Look at this guy. Like, I got to put him, I'll put him, you know what? Just above just above Kid Jason. How about that? Because he has some moments where he is kind of scary. The scene with Jamie, if you can get away from how ridiculous he looks, pretty scary. Scared me as a kid when he just pops up out of the bed. Kind of scary. When he just yeets the full-grown man into the Transformers, that shows a freakish amount of strength. That's pretty scary. But I can't get over the shoulder pads, the silly mask, the entire look. Just literally rips away any amount of awe or scare factor that this guy has. Absolutely putting this guy in the ground. Not worried about it. Halloween 5. Again, I'm gonna put him one baby step above, just above the remake. He's a killable killer. I'm not afraid of this guy. Tuck your freaking mask in, dude. You look ridiculous. I don't understand why they couldn't just find a mask and stick with it. We continue to switch these masks and they get worse and worse and worse. This one, I guess maybe an improvement over the last, but only just. I think the overall look is still ridiculous. And he gets beat the hell up by an old man. So, of course, I feel like I could take this guy. I'm not worried about it. But everything that I just said about Michael, take that, throw it away, because this guy is gonna hurt me. Halloween 6, you know what? I'm putting him even above the original. Halloween 6, this guy is a force. He's so violent. This is the most violent we had ever seen Michael, at least until we got to like the Rob Zombie and the David Gordon Green trilogy. Then that kind of became, a staple of Michael was the brutality. But before that, he was pretty reserved. He had some moments, obviously, that were worse than others, but for the most part, it was a simple, throat slit or stab in the gut. He was pretty. He did drown that girl. I'm sorry. You did drown that lady in the boiling water. That was pretty gnarly. But aside from that, you were pretty tame. This guy seemed like he took a great deal of satisfaction in imparting as much pain on everybody as possible, including all those fuckstick doctors in the strobe light scene. One of my favorite scenes of the entire franchise. Love this guy. Love that movie. I don't care who knows it. I ranked them all. I'll put that ranking in the comments too. Just check out all my rankings while you're here and drop a sub, drop a like. Anyway, Halloween H2O. Again, I told myself for such a long time that this was a great movie, and it's an okay movie. I don't hate it, but Chris Duran is not scary. He's too small. He's absolutely a killable killer. I'll put him, you know what? I'll put him right after the Freddy from Jason, Freddy versus Jason, because he has some durability. He gets stabbed a bunch of times. He gets dropped off a high rise. The dude takes some punishment, but I feel like if somebody would have just put one right in his head, he would have been done. So I'm not so much worried about this guy as much as I am a bunch of these other folks up here, but still had some moments for sure. Unlike the guy in Resurrection, I hate this mask. I hate this movie. I hate that this guy gets absolutely bitched out by, a regular ass dude doing kung fu who learned kung fu from watching movies. I mean, there was no statement that this guy was even properly trained. He just learned kung fu through osmosis, through watching, the Legends of Kung Fu movies. So he absolutely bitches out Michael. Hate it. Hate it, hate it, hate it. We'll put him right there, down towards the bottom. Hate it. Absolutely hate it. But like I said earlier with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we got a reboot of sorts, a reimagining the Rob Zombie movies. And whether you love them, whether you hate them, there is no denying that Tyler Mane is an absolute force of nature. So I'm going to put both versions of the Rob Zombie Michael towards the top of the list, just because if you put me face to face with either of these dudes, I'm not walking away. I'm sorry. I'm not foolish enough to think that I stand a chance against either one of these guys, because Tyler Mane is a scary individual. This Myers, Hobo Myers. Again, that entire opening sequence in H2 is terrifying. It's terrifying and very, very well done. Does it get a little ridiculous towards the end? Sure. Do I like that he walks around most of the movie with his mask off? Not really. Do I like that he talks? Absolutely not. But still, that's not going to stop him from putting that big ass knife straight through my midsection. So both of those guys right towards the top of the list. And now we're getting down to the nitty gritty, the David Gordon Green trilogy. I'm going to say that the Halloween 2018 version, I'm in for a long night. I'm going to put him right up here ahead of the original, probably even right ahead of the Halloween 6. This guy, again, was just a force of nature. Watching him take out the podcasters and then take out, the babysitter that was babysitting Julian, just, I don't know, there was something about the way that he went about it. You could tell that he was smart. This is not a brain dead, human being. He's very much aware of the situation. He's aware of what he's doing now. Why is he doing it? Who cares? They took away the motive, and that makes him even scarier to me. They took away the sister thing. He's not chasing his sister. He's just a random force of nature. He's a hurricane. He's an earthquake. He's gonna fuck you up, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then in Halloween Kills, they make the dude even scarier because they set him on fire and he just walks away like it's nothing. So I'm going to put him right up here. Let's put him right between the Freddys, because this guy is an absolute terror. I mean, if you want to talk about Halloween Kills, you might not like the movie. I've definitely soured on it a little bit as it's aged. It's not as good. Again, another movie that I wanted to love, that I really loved when it came out, and I still really enjoy it. But the more I watch it, the more I see problems with the movie. But there is no problem whatsoever with James Jude Courtney's portrayal in this movie, with David Gordon Green's direction of Myers in this movie. I think some of the shots, like this one in particular, are absolutely brilliant. The massacre of the firefighters is brilliant. There's a couple scenes that are just absolutely brilliant. But they did not stick the landing. Halloween Ends. This is I'm not going to put him dying first in his own movie, but I will put him at the very bottom of killable killers, because he gets bitched out by Corey Cunningham. He is really, really at this point, and he's at the end of his rope. He's an old man. He's definitely been sapped of whatever powers, whatever mythical powers he had. You know, they say the more he kills, the more he transcends. He kills a couple people in this movie. Doesn't seem like he transcends a whole lot. He kind of still just kind of takes it until the very end of the movie when he finally shows up and does something. And by then it's a little too late. And then he gets beat up by Lori and Allison and then gets thrown in a meat grinder. So, you know, the dude, it was definitely a disappointing end of the franchise for me. I would have loved to put him higher up this list, but I just don't think that I can. So that's kind of, let me move myself out of the way so you can kind of see this a little bit better. But there it is. There's kind of where I see everybody. Yeah, I think that for the most part, yeah, I like it. These are the guys that I definitely I don't like my chance against. These are the guys that probably gonna handle me, but you know, they're saying there's a chance, like 1 in a million, maybe. These guys, it's a coin flip. It really just depends on how thick my plot armor is and whether I trip over that invisible rake or not. These guys down here, absolutely, I feel like I've got a chance. I've got a pretty good chance as long as I have a means to defend myself and I'm not just stuck in a room with nothing. I'm probably going to be all right. And then these dudes down here, you give me, you know, a spoon and I'm coming out of this. I'm coming out of this alive. Give me a spork and I'm carving these mother truckers' eyes out, okay? So I'm not worried about any of these dudes. So that's my list, y'all, and I know this is going to be polarizing. I know that this is going to this is not your list. There's some of you out there that think that I'm an idiot and you completely disagree with everything I just said. That's great. That's the beauty of conversation. Just because we disagree doesn't mean that we have to hate one another. So please share your tier list, share your ranking. Let me know which ones I got completely wrong. Are there ones that I have at the bottom that you wouldn't want to see in a dark alley? Are there ones that I'm giving respect to that you think are a joke? That's the beauty of art, is it's subjective. It's subjective. We all have our own opinions. Not a one of them is right, but this is my opinion. So guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been a while since I did this, so I kind of took it easy on myself. I didn't follow a script. I just kind of went off the cuff. If you like these types of videos and you want me to do some more off the cuff kind of tier list rankings, let me know. Drop a like, drop a comment. Again, I missed you guys. It's been dang near, I think, 8 or 9 months since I uploaded anything, so it's good to be back, and I thought that spooky season would be the perfect time to get back into it. So hopefully this isn't the last time I upload this month. Maybe I can come up with something relatively soon. But thank you all again so much for being fans, for watching, for enjoying horror as much as I do, and for being willing to engage in conversation with someone that maybe doesn't agree with everything you have to say. We got to get back to that. We got to get back to, you know, to being okay with disagreeing with people. So thank you all very much. Until next time, be good people. Be good to each other. We'll see you then.